Hello, welcome to another video from LightSpeedStats.com, the horse racing sister site to BetfairTradingCommunity.com. Today I'm going to explain how you use Dobs on the software. If you don't know what Dobs are, basically Dobs are a system people use where they back a horse at higher odds and lay it off at shorter odds with the idea of either doubling your money by winning 100% of your stake, or you just let that stake run if it doesn't hit your target price and you lose 100% of your stake. Therefore, it's double or bust. Dobs, that's where that's come from, okay? There's also other ways to do this. So, for example, some people like to do half a Dob, so that's a 50% profit. Some people like to do a Trob, which is making 3 times your money. So, obviously, you're making twice as much. I wanted to show you how you could do this in the software. And basically the fact that you can do whatever you like with this in the software. So it's really cool what you can do. Guys, before I say this, if you haven't signed up to lightspeedstats.com, go ahead and do it. 50% off your first month at the moment. Obviously, I don't know how long that'll continue, depending on when you're watching this in the future. But also, if you just want free strategies, if you want some free horse racing strategies, just say the word free in the video and I will share those with you. So let's get on with it. Let's go on with Dobs. So I'm into the strategy builder on the software. And if you just click a Dobs strategy or you click any new strategy, you can just create a new strategy there. But I'm going to use this Dobs strategy that I've already created here. I'm going to click on it. And then we're going to come to the horse selection rules, okay? So there's 2 parts I really want you to look at here. One is the betting rules and one is the horse selection rules. And this is the bit we're going to look at first. Now, here we actually have how you would set up a Dob, okay, in the software. You would use Betfair starting price. You would look at the comparison. You would look for greater than, because we want to look for odds that are greater than the Betfair starting price, and then compare it to the lowest price in running times 2. Okay, so the lowest price in running times 2 are the odds you're looking for a Dob. You essentially want the odds to half. Okay, so it's quite easy to work out in that respect. I'm going to show you how to set this up from scratch. So go to the master rule group, and remember for this we want to pick BSP. Okay. So scroll down until we find BSP. There we go. The little star thing. And then we add the rule. Okay. Very straightforward. But now we need to choose a rule type. Do you want a value? So value would just be the price itself. So it could be, and here's a range 2 to 100. Well, no, we don't want the price. We're not actually interested in the specific price. We want to compare the price to the lowest in running price. Okay. So click comparison. We're going to click greater than, and then we're going to compare it to the lowest, sorry, not lowest pre-rise price, lowest price in running. Look how many options you've got, by the way, as well. There's so much you can do with this software, isn't there? And then we're going to choose 2 for a Dob, okay? Very straightforward. So what this will now do is it will look for horses that have halved in price, but you want to give it an option for the kind of percentage you want to use. So here, we're going to look for horses that have dobbed in price 100%, 70% of their last 10 runs, okay? And what's simple here, what I like here is what this means is that the horse will have dobbed 70% of the time in their last 10 runs. Well, if you want a price to come in and you want to double your money or lose your money, you need to win at least 50% of the time. Well, if a horse is dobbing 70% of the time, that shows us that there's a good likelihood it will happen again. And obviously that's way above the 50% we would need to break even. Okay. But obviously the percentage you choose is up to you. You might be happy with 60. You might want to try 55, 65, whatever. Probably not going to go below 50, obviously. But that's how you set up a Dob in theory. Okay. What I want to go to next is I want to go and have a look at closing your trades, because this is really important. So if you have a straight betting strategy, you will not have a target exit, but here we do. So what we do is for the exit price, we just click profit and then 1 point profit, okay? And there's no stop loss because obviously we're letting the trade run or we're getting the odds we want, okay? So that's going to give you 1 point profit on your trade if it hits your odds. The reason this is important is obviously you can set that up as I have, and you'll see in the strategy bunker, you can set it up as a bot. So if you've got something like BF Bot Manager like I have, and you turn it on with this little clicky button, give it the same name you've put in BF Bot Manager in this little section here, I've called it Dobs, then it will actually use those selections. It will bring it through. So that's cool, right? That's kind of an extra thing you can do. But the reason it's important to do this in the betting rules is that you want to make sure you are getting the Dob profit. Okay, so they're kind of the two things you need to sort out: the horse selection rule and match that up with the betting rules. But what's cool here is we could have just put a Dob button, right? We could have just gone, right, click Dob. Okay, because you might look at this and go, well, why do I have to do all this couple of different things? Here's the reason. You can effectively do whatever you want in this situation now. So let's say I want to have a half Dob, right? Which means I make 50% profit. Well, obviously, I want the odds to go in my favor 50%. So I only want it to come in halfway here. But here, we want it to go 2 times, okay? But we only want it to come halfway in between 1 and 2 times profit, right? Because it's 50%, okay? So all we would put here instead is 1.5. And that would give us a half Dob. That would give us horses that are half dobbing, you know, and getting to that 50% target odds-wise. And then we'll see if we pick our percentage again. Now, in this case, 70% is still good because, well, if we want to win at least 2 out of 3, 70% is good. But we might even want to make that a bit higher. You might want to change that to 80%. You might want to find horses that 80% of the time are coming in at least to a half Dob where you could take that profit, okay? Whatever. That's up to you, again, to decide the percentage you want to use. But if you want to use a half Dob, you need to use the times 1.5. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to change your profit target. Because remember, you're not trying to make 100% profit now. You're only trying to make 50% profit. Well, what's 50% in? And by the way, you can do it as a percentage if you find that easy. I just like to look at this. We're going to put 0.5, and those are our target points. Okay, 0.5 profit. That's all we're after here. And then obviously you just click that to, you scroll down, let you see that button. Click that to run the strategy, and that will give you the results. And again, you can test this stuff. When you click run strategy, you can test through these things and see what percentage works best, what kind of thing might suit the style of trade you want to make, okay? Well, let's say we want to do, what's a trob, right? So some people like to do trobs. Trobs is basically treble or bust, very similar kind of theory to Dobs, where you're looking for horses that will come in at least 3 times their odds. Well, in that case, all we do is do times 3 in here, and essentially we're going to end up with a trob. Okay, hit next. You're probably not going to want 80% as your percentage. That's going to be high. So let's go back. We need at least 33.33% to break even, probably around 35% after commission. So you might just want to look for horses that 40% of their last 10 runs have trobbed. Okay, maybe you want to hit 50. Again, percentage is up to you. Just make sure it's high enough that it beats what you need to make it break even. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless. Click next. Now, again, with this closing your trade, you're going to want to change this. Obviously, we want to make 2 points profit here for our 1 point stake, and we don't have the stop loss. We then run that strategy again. Very straightforward there, and we get the results, and we can compare that. And essentially, actually using just one strategy, you could create 3 different strategies here. You could have a half Dob, a Dob, and a trob. And I want to do some videos on half Dobs and trobs moving forward. Not done any yet, but I know that, people love trading Dobs, and any kind of adjustments that can be made are great for that. Anyway, hopefully that's helped explain how to do a Dob. It also means that you can basically just choose what kind of, how much you want the odds to come in by. Maybe you only want it to be 25%, so you do 1.25. maybe you want it to be a quab. Is a quab a thing? I don't know. But if you want it to come in 4 times, the thing is, you can just do whatever you want. I think that's why, again, that's the brilliance of this software, right? Is that it might take you a video like this to actually learn how to do a dob, but it's going to be so worth it for you because you've got so many more options than if you just had a little dob button, which again, you can choose your percentages, you can choose all these different things you want to use, and it gives you freedom to create a fantastic horse racing strategy, which is what it's all about, right? So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that video, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Obviously, the LightSpeed channel itself is very new, so every subscription counts. But it also means you get notified about these videos so you don't miss them. I get so many emails about things that I cover that I'm just like, if you're subscribed to the channel, you would have seen that straight away. You wouldn't have had to wait a few hours for me to see your email and reply to it. Okay. All right, guys. Hope everyone has a great week. But most importantly of all, I hope you make some money trading the horses on Betfair.